morning. Good morning. This was impromptu, and those people that know me know that I like to be prepared. So I'm just going to be off the cuff, and I'm going to be all over the place. And looking at the moderator. Somebody once said, the only thing that guarantees our freedom is responsibility. But we lost that somewhere between Vietnam and presidential fellatio. But I want to talk about this race issue and bringing these drugs inside of the law and what needs to be done. When we look at more than the 3 decades of this drug war, there's been an estimated 20 million children who have been orphaned with one or both parents are serving time for drug-related charges. Today, there are something like 1.8, 1.9 million children where their parents are in prison. Now, this has staggering effects. And I know yesterday I had a quote, and I used it over and over again, and I'm going to use it today. If one does not understand racism, classism, white privilege, terrorism, and the war on drugs, what these terms mean and how these concepts work, then everything else you do understand will only confuse you. There are almost 7 million people in our criminal justice system who are either on probation, parole, halfway houses, prison, or jail. Almost 2/3 of them are young Black Latino males, with almost 70% of them being there for drug-related charges. 10% of the African American population is in the criminal justice system. Now, if this is not devastating to the Black community, I don't know what is. The drug war has placed the Black community into a de-evolutionary state. And it's going to take monumental effort to bring it out. We also have to understand, by dealing with this drug war, we're going to solve a lot of problems, a lot of social problems that have been plaguing us for years. We have to understand that these drugs have to be brought inside of the law. And when police chief of Camden, New Jersey, and privately the police chief of New Haven, Connecticut, and the police chief of, I think it's one other city, I'm not sure, that says without the drug trade, those cities would collapse financially. That says a lot about where this country is with this particular drug problem. I think cannabis should be legalized outright, along with hemp. I think heroin, cocaine, methamphetamine, ecstasy should be medicalized, and I think all of the rest of the illegal drugs should be decriminalized for future debate and true and honest medicinal study. That is a good place to start. But more importantly, what has to be done is this underground economy has to be replaced. Because right now, there is money floating in and around the Black and Latino community. And we're not talking about chump change here. We're talking about billions of dollars that really keeps many of our cities afloat. Nobody really wants to talk about it, because then when you start talking about it, that opens up Pandora's box. That means you're going to have to deal with everything from abortion to race relations to whatever else we're dealing with. And nobody really wants to deal with that because we are not responsible. I just want to say that the legalization or bringing these drugs inside of the law is paramount to ending drug prohibition. Now, I know there are many people out there who say this dude is crazy. But those people are becoming fewer and fewer because we're really exhausting where we gotta go. I listened to the panel on Katrina, And those people on the panel made a lot of sense. However, there is still only one way to go. In this drug policy reform movement, this is a multi-pronged attack. We deal with this in different ways. We need people like myself who talk about straight legalization and reparations for the drug war, but we also need people who are going to do the hand-holding. We need those people to use stealth tactics to get to where they need to go, or using the culture. I listened about how they work in the South, and it is different from the way things are done in the North. So we need all of those things. But more importantly, we need to come to grips with this race problem. We haven't had a conversation on race in 40 years. And when we hear things like Bill Bennett saying that the crime rate will go down if we abort many of our black babies, what does that say to this society? That says that this race issue has been put under a rug, so to speak, but it keeps bubbling up all the time. And when we look at the world, we see Paris is burning. And those are racial issues. We've got to understand how these things work, what they mean. And until we do that, we're going to be in the same quagmire that we are now, but it's just going to get worse. Now, once these drugs come inside of the law, there has to be a form of reparations for the Black, Latino, and poor white communities to help rebuild the infrastructure, the health system, the economic system, the public school system. Where are we going to get this money? How much time? 5 minutes. Okay. This money is going to come from the outright taxation of cannabis and hemp over a period of time. The real prize is going to be hemp, because over a period of time, I believe that it's going to revolutionize 3 industries: the paper industry, the garment industry, and the food industry. And we have to look at these things and come up with realistic solutions. The thing that is most important about this entire drug war is to understand a few things. The drug war goes against 2 basic principles of life. The first is economics, and the second is basic human nature. Through the strategy of drug prohibition and the war on drugs, we have made these drugs worth more than gold. And basic human nature says people are never going to stop using these drugs. So understanding those 2 thoughts, we know the drug wars are working. We know it will never work. So the thing that we have to do is understand that we have to legalize, medicalize, and decriminalize all of these drugs. And for me, that was not an easy decision. Because some 40-odd years ago, my mother died from an apparent heroin overdose. And I thought at that particular time that all illegal drugs should be eradicated from the face of the earth. But when 2 medical doctors sat me down and schooled me about heroin and how it could be controlled, that changed my life forever. And this is why I say legalization now, legalization tomorrow, legalization forever.